Hello there again, everybody. Welcome back. I want to do a quick wrap up of week 2. Coming to you today from my beautiful apartment in the city. What city? I don't know. It's still my basement, just with another background. Um, so, what I want to do is quickly talk a little bit about last week or currently this week, and then what's coming up in our next week. This week there were 3 assignments due. Those were the introduction speech. Unless you turned that in last week, there was the speech lab tour, and then there was the content quiz 2. In that order, the introduction speeches, I think everybody responded to that post. There was one that I think there was a glitch on, but I've commented on that. I've also commented on everyone else's that submitted those for this week. Again, it's one of those things where if you want to have the conversation, feel free to do that. If not, you don't have to. For those who did respond from last week, I appreciate that. It's always good to continue to learn a little more. Believe it or not, I do actually write that stuff down. I mean, not for any grading purposes, but there's information on everybody just so that I can put faces and names, or at least names and interests together a little bit easier as I try to learn everybody. The second thing is the speech lab tour. That one was more hit and miss. There were some folks that didn't do that one. Um, Remember that you will have to go to the speech lab at least 2 more times this semester. And in order to do that, you go to the website and then start the consultation. Here, I'll walk you through it just briefly here. If you've already done this, then you know what this is. You can skip the next 2 minutes. But gvsu.edu/speechlab. When you get here, you will see that we're closed because of COVID-19. But click on that one. And then right there, virtual consultations. If you click on this, you will come here. And no one's there right now because it's Friday and that's closed. But normally this would be where you would allow the computer to use your microphone and your camera. Let's click don't for now, and then you'll click join now, and then bam, you should be interacting with people. At this point on this screen, it's possible that you won't see anyone, but you will see a circle with like their, like the pink C you see over on the right side of the screen. You may see something like that and then hear the voice of the people working. That's not the speech lab yet. That's the knowledge market from the research center's receptionist. For us, just tell them what you're there for, and then they will send you over to a speech lab consultant. Again, this is 5 points per visit, right? So those are 3 required, so that's 15 points of your full grade. And if you missed the first one, that's 5 points you can't get back. So make sure that you're keeping up with these things and you're going to your visits. Again, it will take, the tour probably took 10 minutes. The others will take about 30 minutes. And as a reminder, if you did miss it and you're worried about, is there anything I can do for extra credit? Recall, yes, you can go to more speech lab consultations. So you'll have to go to one for the informative and one for the persuasive speeches, one whenever during that persuasive couple of weeks. But anything you do in addition to that will be extra credit. So keep that in mind and try to keep up with those. Related, you've got the other thing that was due, and that was your content quizzes. So those are under the assignments tab over here, and you'll need to take those as they are listed in the syllabus, right? So those are on the schedule here. So you got content quiz 1, content quiz 2, there's 3, 4, I think there's one more. Yeah, there's 5. So make sure that you're doing those. If you haven't done those already, and that's again points that are just gone now. That these are 2.5 points each. So make sure that you're keeping up with these small things. These quizzes, if you watch the videos, will probably take less than 5 minutes to get through. So make sure that you're keeping up and you're staying on track. Speaking of that, let's change and move forward now. Think about next week. And what's going to be due. So if you go to our handy dandy schedule here, we're going to be on week 3, outline and evaluation forms with demo, and then informative style. So I've got a couple different videos out there for you. I think this actually turned into 3 videos. One is all about the outline and the evaluation form and how to use those. One is a demo of me using the outline in the way that I want you to use it for your informative outline. And then a third is an informative style video where I talk about delivering a speech using informative style. So, with those, make sure you're watching those. It will make your job so much easier because in the following week, week 4, you'll see right there your informative outline will be due, right? So, if you watch this video, it will show you exactly step by step how to do this. Makes your life much easier. Now, for this coming week, what is due? Well, there's content quiz 3. So watch the video, take the quiz. Videos plural. And then here, the topic and sources worksheet. Let's just take a quick look at that. It's down in the course pack. So beginning on page 15, you'll see the topics and sources. We'll talk a little bit about a checklist for you to pick a topic, some ways to do that. Brainstorming. I know at least one of you have already contacted me about picking a topic and how to do that. This will be the sort of the deadline for choosing and sticking with a topic. So do think carefully and give it appropriate time when you're choosing this topic. Don't just sort of rush the process. Get where we can all see everything here. You're going to talk a little bit about types of sources, what a peer-reviewed journal is, why they're important, why we have to use them. News sources, we'll talk about statistics, industry, academic, government. There's more government. Expert versus lay opinion or testimony. Things that you should avoid. How to cite these orally in the speech. Right? So there's a lot of good info here. Then this is what is actually due. So to turn this in, you can save it in its own document and submit it that way. But, oops, there are two sheets here. Basically, it's a front and back if it were on paper. But the front side is your topic worksheet. And all you have to do here is answer these questions at the top. This is just an example of what your answers might look like. So what is your topic? How will you discuss it informatively, specific to GV? How will you discuss it persuasively? Because you'll need to do that later, specific to GV. And why is this relevant? Now, I don't expect you to have every single thing figured out right now, in terms of like, this is exactly how I will discuss it persuasively. No, all I'm looking for here is that you're able to talk a little bit about taking a position on this issue. It doesn't have to be at all finalized at this point. It's just, if you can't come up with an initial thought on here's a way to do this persuasively, then it's probably not a great topic for you, and you should probably keep on looking. But answer those questions on the front side, and then quote unquote on the back. This is your sources worksheet. Now go back into the syllabus, and we'll go together in just a second and look at the types of sources that are required, right? So there's different types that are required, but you'll list those here. There's 3. That's all that you need for right now. One is a peer-reviewed journal, and you'll see that that's the example I give here. Then you'll need your peer-reviewed, you'll need a news source, and you'll need a statistic from a credible source. And then the questions you'll answer: why is this credible? Note up here with my example, if it's a peer-reviewed journal, then that's all you really need to say. That's why it's credible. How do you plan to use it? Again, doesn't have to be 100% final, but what are some ways you can use this? And then the quotation or statistic specifically, what do you find in this piece, in this source, that you really want to use? Not just like, I found an article that talked about more people's 95% of people say bald is beautiful. Great. Well, what specifically about that do you want to use? So find that line in the article, and then you can mention it, you can copy paste it, whatever works best for you. This is continuing that. This will be part of your topics and sources. This will give you some information on what a good source is. This is a bias chart. There's a whole lecture that includes that. And then there's your informative style. And again, those lectures are already out there. So jumping back up here quickly, always when you're getting ready to work on an assignment in any class, really, go back to the syllabus or the assignment details, whatever your professor happens to use, and look at those. So for get in a second. Topics and sources. Here, this will tell you exactly what you need to have done. Now it says written and oral submissions. Don't worry so much about that. If this were an in-person class, you would hand me the piece of paper and then talk to the class about it. For us, we're not going to do that. So this is where you'll pick the theme that you want for your topic. Make sure that it fits with this Think National, Act Practical idea that we're using. Choose something you're interested in or passionate about. It cannot be changed once you do it. Whoops, that's an email coming in. Also, it says since you're not an expert, you'll need those sources. So you will need a news article, a peer-reviewed academic journal article, and a statistic. Then you're going to submit a typed bibliography of 3 sources. That's on the worksheet. That is the worksheet, okay? So next week, you will need to do the content quiz and those 2 forms. Really, it's the same thing. Again, it's front and back if this were a in-person course. So with that, let me know if you have questions. Also, final thought, I have entered everyone that went to the speech lab for a tour. I have your grade entered to give you credit for it. Look at yours, and if you have gone, but you don't see credit for it, let me know. Email me, and I'll go back and see if I can find that record, and then we'll take it from there. All right? If you have questions of any kind, feel free to email me, of course. And as always, have a great weekend, or as much as you can in quarantine. I'll see you soon.